Our forecast, mostly cloudy, 24 tonight. Chance of rain and snow and 42 tomorrow. Thursday, rain and 56. Rick Schrepp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by
A is for ABS, B is for BCM, C is for CVT, D is for, don't worry, we're not going to quiz you, because at Carroll Works Tire, we know the auto industry is full of acronyms. But here's the one that matters the most, tire. Trust, integrity, reliability, expertise. Carroll Works Tire, keeping Dayton rolling from A to Z. Find us online at c-wtire.com or talk to a real human at 937-461-5441.
Coming this winter, a deal so epic, so huge, so famous. You'll have to taste it to believe it. The Homestyle Bowl Combo. Affordability strikes back. Starring famous chicken, melty cheese, sweet corn, mashed potatoes, and rich gravy. The Homestyle Bowl Combo with a regular drink. Now playing for just $4.99 at a Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken near you. Famous for a reason.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are off and rolling here on a Tuesday. It's the Justin Kenner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, live on the Justin Kenner Show Facebook page, live on the Justin Kenner Show YouTube channel, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. We are live on many different platforms. However you tune in, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's the best time of year. March Madness is officially upon us. And before we get too much further into the show, just because I know that technically things tip off tonight in the first four at the University of Dayton Arena. If you haven't done so, head to wingam.com right now and enter your bracket in the Basketball Mayhem Bracket Challenge presented by our friends over at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. They provided us with quite a few gift cards. We're going to give out $25 gift cards to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken to the individual round winners, plus a $150 gift card to the tournament winner, plus you fill out the perfect bracket, you win $1 million. It's very easy. You just got to get every single pick right. In fact, it's so easy that it has been done, well, never, but maybe you could be the first, and that'd be quite the payoff if you could do it. So head to wingam.com right now and, get those brackets submitted. I'm Justin Kenner with you here on a Tuesday, 3:03 here in the Miami Valley. We got a lot to cover. So I'm kind of confused. People have been asking, Kenner, you're always looking for a reason to bury the Bengals. How come you haven't really jumped on the Bengals off-season talk quite yet? It's because now I am 36 years old and I have grown, I have matured over the years. And usually I do this thing where I start just ripping a team right off the bat when free agency starts, off-season stuff starts. And then I look kind of silly because usually when I do that, that's when a big move is made. I've been kind of sitting back and waiting and just watching what the Bengals have been doing. And I feel like the job's not done yet. How do I feel like the job has been done well? Have they been performing well this offseason up to this point? They've addressed some needs. I like a couple of the guys that they got. I think that they're obviously better now than what they were when the season ended, which was very, very important, right? You get Jonathan Allen. You sign him to a 2-year contract through the 2027 season. All right, you get Mafe, the defensive end. You sign him to a 3-year contract through the 28 season. And then, of course, you got that extension done with Orlando Brown Jr. You get all that signed and taken care of. You get him, with a new, fresh 2-year contract through 2028 as well. You restructured that. You freed up some money. I like the addition of Brian Cook. All right, Brian Cook fixes a lot of issues for the Cincinnati Bengals when it comes to missed tackles, especially back in that secondary. I like the Brian Cook addition. That's where the offseason kind of stops. I mean, I guess they did ask Josh. They added Josh Johnson, backup quarterback. I've read that, right now you have Joe Flacco, who is out looking for a starting job right now, or at least looking for a position where he can go start somewhere. There's still a possibility that the Bengals can get him back. I'm here to tell you, I've said this before. I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy, but from what I saw from Joe Flacco last year, I feel like Joe Flacco would make the Steelers better than Aaron Rodgers makes him. So if the Steelers are going to go in a geriatric route, you might as well go with the guy that I think looked significantly better last year. Now, I guess you could include the first month of the season when Joe Flacco looked absolutely abysmal. I think that was more of an impact of, or more of an effect of what wasn't around him. The Browns have the worst pass catchers in the NFL. They put out the weapons index at the end of the season, and the Browns were rated as the worst. He had the worst weapons, pass catchers in the National Football League. It's not a surprise that Joe Flacco was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league the first month of the season, goes to Cincinnati, has Jamar Chase, has T. Higgins, and all of a sudden putting up 300, 400, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns in a game. I mean, the guy could still play. So the fact that the Bengals are still trying to get him to come back to be a backup, why wouldn't they want him to be their backup? Why wouldn't he want to come to Cincinnati? I think Cincinnati makes a lot of sense for Joe Flacco. Some people could take this as a shot. That's fine. Bottom line is Joe Burrow is not very reliable when it comes to, staying healthy. And it's kind of nice to have a guy that that can go in there and still produce offensively at a similar level. Like Joe Flacco is not Joe Burrow by any means, but Joe Flacco can go in there and put up big numbers. In fact, they weren't losing games last year because Joe Burrow was out. They were losing games last year for the same reason they lost games when Joe Burrow's out there. That defense was actually absolutely abysmal. If Joe Burrow has to miss any significant amount of time, knock on wood that doesn't happen, by acquiring Jonathan Allen, getting Mafe again, adding some weapons, pass rushers to that defensive line, shoring up the back end of that secondary with Brian Cook, you're already significantly better today than what you were last season. There you go. We'll see what ends up happening. But the reason I bring this up is because I didn't think that the Bengals offseason was really going all that poorly. I didn't think that they were doing, I didn't think that they were that bad. I mean, they addressed the defensive line. They added Brian Cook, as we talked about. They addressed the safety position. They're still in a position where if they really wanted a Caleb Downs or something, maybe they can go that route. I don't think Caleb Downs is dropping to 10. There's almost every team out there. There's always every team that's in the top 10 has a need, but every, draft analyst that I come across out there says it's kind of crazy for any of these teams to let a star as super talented as Caleb Downs just go right past him. So we'll see what happens. The Chiefs could end up taking Caleb Downs at this point. Who knows? But I thought that their offseason was going pretty well. But a guy that I've gotten into it on social media with on many occasions, because I'm a Bengals hater, and one because I think that it's fanish behavior. But Goodberry and I have gone back and forth on social media before. But Goodberry, he's been the one that's kind of been a little bit more critical than usual when it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals offseason, mainly because of stuff that I don't think you fans care about as much, although you should. It's been the structuring of the contracts. The one thing that we have criticized the Bengals for, even collectively, Bengals haters and non-Bengals haters, we have all agreed that the Bengals have been very archaic with the way that they structure contracts. And that they don't really, I think that Duke Tobin, you guys know my opinion on him. I think he's horrific. I think he's horrible. And I think that the fact that, you heard him talk and heard the things that he said and basically just, he spoke like a guy that had no fear of being fired, which is absolutely insane because, to sit there and say we're always all in, of course we're all in. As much as I do like the Bengals moves, I don't think that these are all-in moves. And so Goodberry has been criticizing the fact that, the average per year, looking at the way that they've structured these contracts, that the Bengals just signed the 2 highest cap hits of the 2026 offseason. All right. They just gave out the 2 highest cap hits in free agency. And I don't think that they got any impact players. These are guys that are automatically going to make an impact, I guess, just because, well, look at who they're replacing. Look at how bad this defense was a year ago. But they're significantly overpaying when it comes to the money up front, just because they're not structuring these correctly. But I find this very, very fascinating when he kind of breaks it all down. When you look at the salary cap and the cap hits, the 2 biggest cap hits signed this offseason, not just by the Bengals, but by all teams in the NFL. The Bengals signed the 2 biggest cap hits. And it's not based on the player. It's based on the contract in which you're willing to give the player. And that's what ultimately ended up happening. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Goodberry tweets that, he breaks all this down and he goes, this, after Joe Burrow described this offseason of paramount importance, it's just a slap in the face from the franchise. Well, like I said, I have sat back and I've been very kind of patient with giving out any true hot takes on the Bengals offseason because the offseason's not done. But I do feel like they are putting a lot of eggs back in the draft basket, which to me continues to be a problem because you can't draft. You can't evaluate talent. You seem to reach on a lot of guys that you don't have a big enough scouting department to take chances on. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the Bengals front office cannot get out of their own way. And I've said this many, many times. If I'm a Bengals fan, I would feel absolutely demoralized if the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins era, if those three guys having generational talents like that, at least two of the three generational talents, T is phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but to have those three guys on your roster, if you can't change up how you go about doing things front office-wise, contract structure-wise, everything else, if you can't modernize your franchise to catch up with the times, to win with these guys, if these guys can't motivate you to change your ways, there's not a quarterback out there. It doesn't get much better than Joe Burrow, and you guys know how I feel about Joe Burrow. All right, I'm not a Bengals fan, so I don't drool over him as much as you guys do, but my goodness, would I kill to have a Joe Burrow in Cleveland. But if Joe Burrow, who, honestly, if you take the injury concerns away, skill for skill, don't know if there's a better quarterback in the NFL. But the injury concerns and the lack of, the inconsistencies with his availability and all this, that kind of hampers his legacy a little bit. But the bottom line is you will not get a more talented quarterback than Joe Burrow in Cincinnati anytime soon. And if that guy can't get them to change their ways, this is the stuff are they going to restructure contracts? Are they going to, go modernizing how they approach contracts, current contracts, future contracts, free agency, getting, very creative with trades. They're not, executing trades. They're not doing anything of significance to truly help this team. So if you ask my opinion about it, I don't think it's going swell. But I think that the bar was so low based on how bad this defense was last year and the last couple of years that they really didn't have to do much. They didn't have to do much to improve the defense. And the moves that they made, I think they're easy moves to make. And I think that this team, and I think that's why, while everyone else is panicking, the front office hasn't been panicking, because in their eyes, they truly believe, oh, look, I know we've been historically bad defensively the last couple of years. I know we've missed the playoffs 3 straight years with Joe Burrow, but hey, look how close we've come for 3 straight years. 2 of the last 3 years finishing above 500. 2 of the last 3 years, hell, even last year, you could think of 2 games that if the defense just gets one more stop, if you have a Brian Cook in one of those games, if you have if you have a Mafe in one of those games, if they win 1 or 2 of those and they're back in the playoff picture. Now, they're not wrong for thinking that, but that's how delicate the ecosystem is in Cincinnati. They have to get this offseason right. And I just feel like they're still not structuring contracts right. They're not maximizing the Joe Burrow era. So I'm not going to be too critical. I don't think they're doing a good job structuring these contracts. But if you just talk about this upcoming season alone, Jonathan Allen, Mafe going to get Brian Cook, and maybe you hit on a draft pick or 2. This team's going to be way better next season, assuming Joe Burrow and everyone stays healthy. Assuming. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown. He's going to be in the studio with us coming up here around the corner. He's in Dayton for the first 4. We'll be heading to UD Arena following the show tonight. Again, Miami held their open practice earlier today. I know a lot of people wanted to go and check that out, so we'll talk about that. But Travis Steele and company preparing for their NCAA tournament head-to-head tomorrow against SMU. We'll talk about that. Obviously, Thad Matta, the announcement of his retirement yesterday, who could be the next head coach at Butler. Wright State preparing for their first-round tournament game on Friday, 1:50 the tip-off. We'll have 1:30 pregame coverage for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio as the Raiders take on Virginia. Ohio State will tip off the NCAA tournament on Thursday. We'll have that for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio as well. Ohio State and TCU. And the winner of that, well, they get rewarded by facing Duke. So there you go. Now, again, Duke still has to play Siena, but the winner of TCU and Ohio State will go on to play Duke. So there's that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Miami, all of that fun stuff coming up. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Ready to love where you live? The Clark County Home and Garden Show returns March 27th through the 29th at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield, presented by Home Genius Interiors. This is your chance to meet trusted local pros, explore fresh ideas, and get inspired for your next renovation or landscaping project. Admission is free, powered by Buckeye Decorative Concrete. 3 days, real experts, real inspiration. March 27th through 29th, the Clark County Home and Garden Show, where your next project begins.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just any tee, the band tee. You wore it everywhere until your best friend stole it. Now you're on eBay, and there it is. Same tee from the same tour. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. Where else can you find that mint trading card you searched everywhere for, or your first car, the one you wish you never sold? It has to be eBay. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SOUND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SOUND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
It's game time with Hoops and Hops at Milano's. The hoop action will be hot and the hops will be flowing with our ice-cold all-star beer selection. You gotta make Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps your home court for all the tournament games. MilanoSubs.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefontaine, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less.
Missing out is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert, or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart. Just complete the purchase. Hurry. This deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at the spot price. At today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth over $150,000. Smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals. That's why I buy gold from Birch Gold Group. It's a crucial part of my balanced strategy. Gives me peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you too. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Now that's peace of mind. Text Dan to 989898. Again, text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 today. Message and data rates apply.
Do you have at least 1 month worth of food in your pantry? If not, you should definitely go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. My Patriot Supply is America's #1 supplier of long-term storable food. They've helped over 3 million Americans get prepared. And for a limited time, when you order their best-selling 4-week food supply, you'll get an additional week of food absolutely free. There's no catch, but act fast because this offer ends soon. Claim your free emergency food kit now at mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show right here, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown. He's in Dayton today for the first four. In fact, he's heading to the station now. He's going to pop in studio with us. Coming up here just around the corner, he was just at UD Arena a little bit ago for the open practice sessions for, of course, Miami, most importantly, is who we'll talk about more in depth coming up here in a moment. Look, I've said many, many times that Dayton is like, if you're a basketball fan, this is the coolest city to live in. And I know I've grew up the biggest basketball fan out there, high school basketball, college, NBA, all that. And this is my favorite stretch of the year, especially right now. I mean, last week in Indianapolis with Wright State at the Horizon League championships, of course, they won that. Came right back, called the girls basketball state tournament, between Vandalia Butler High School, the Nutter Center, and University of Dayton Arena, of course, over the weekend. How about that Fairmont finish? I mean, how about Thornton? I mean, how about the Firebirds finishing the season undefeated with the state championship with the win in overtime against Princeton? That was phenomenal. And then here we are getting set for the first four tonight and tomorrow. And then, of course, coming up this weekend at UD Arena is the OHSAA 2026 Boys Basketball State Championships. To give you an idea, again, we'll run through this a little bit. Here are divisions 1 through 7. Here are the semifinals matchups again, as state tournament week is officially here. We're going to talk a lot of college basketball more in depth coming up in a bit. But out of Division 1, Princeton, we just saw the girls in town over the weekend. But Cincinnati Princeton will take on Lakewood St. Edwards over the weekend. And then the winner of that game will go on to take on Hilliard Bradley and Pick Central. Division 2, Westerville North will take on North Royalton. That'll be this Saturday. How about Lima Senior back in the mix? They're in the semifinals out of Division 2. They're taking on Massillon, Washington coming up this Saturday. And the winner of those two matchups will square off on Sunday for a noon tip at UD Arena. So there's that. How about Division 3, Toledo Central Catholic? They're going to be in action against Trotwood. How about that? Trotwood back to the state tournament for the 6th time in school history. They'll take on the winner between Akron-Hoban and Steubenville. That's coming up. That state championship game out of Division 3 is set for Friday, March 20th. Friday night, I should say, at 7:30. Division 4, Sandusky Perkins will go up against Cleveland Glenville, and the winner of that will go on to take on Maysville and Wyoming. That state championship for Division 4 is set for Friday at 4:15. Division 5, as we keep it going, Gahana Columbus Academy, will take on Zanesville Muskegum again, and that's coming up on Friday. The winner of that will take on Cincinnati Summit Country Day, and they'll take on Cleveland Heights Lutheran East, and that's coming up on Friday. The state championship game out of Division 5 will come on Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. Division 6, Berlin Highland will take on Kirtland. The winner of that will go on to face Marion Local. They're 25-1 on the year against Lincoln View out of Van Wert County up north. That's where I'm from. I'm from went to Van Wert High School, and Lincoln View from Van Wert County, 22-5 on the year, going up against 25-1 Marion Local. That'll be this Friday at the Nutter Center at 8 p.m. The state championship game out of Division 6 will be Saturday, 7:30 p.m. And then Division 7, Malvern will take on an undefeated Delphus St. John's team this Friday at the Nutter Center. That's a noon tip-off. The winner will face the winner between Kalida and Hillsdale. And that state championship game for Division 7 will be Saturday at 4:15 p.m. So there you have it. The OHSAA Boys State Basketball Championships coming up this weekend, all intertwined with the NCAA Tournament. First forward tonight. Girls Basketball Tournament last week. This is a fun time of year. No doubt about it. All right, we got a lot more to get into. College basketball coming up around the corner. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to that. How about 8-seed Ohio State? The Buckeyes are going to take on 9-seed TCU Thursday, set for a 12:15 tip-off. We'll have all your pregame coverage for you that tips off at 11:45 right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Ohio State, one of 4 teams from the state of Ohio dancing this March, of course. Akron, they, of course, won the MAC over the weekend. They coming out of the MAC over the weekend. They drew a 12 seed, and they'll take on 5-seed Texas Tech coming up on Friday. Akron and Miami, a 2-bid MAC. How about that? Obviously, Miami got knocked out early in the first round of the MAC, and then, of course, Akron was able to go on and prevail and come out on top there, beating Toledo in a classic of a game, by the way. How about the Red Hawks, who were just at UD Arena practicing earlier today? They'll be in action tomorrow night. Be a part of the first 4 at UD Arena. They're an 11 seed going up against another opposing 11 seed in SMU. That is going to be the late one on Wednesday night at UD Arena. Wright State drew a 14 seed. They will take on Virginia Friday afternoon. 1:50 will be the tip-off for that. We'll have pregame coverage for you at 1:20 right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Outside of the NCAA tournament, you have the NIT. The Dayton Flyers will play Wednesday night in the NIT at Bradley. So we'll have that coverage for that coming up for you here around the corner as well. Let's get into all of that and more when we come back. Paul Frischner, Rebound Rundown, next when we come back.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Each day, it seems tougher to make ends meet with rising prices. Vivek Ramaswamy believes if you work hard, you shouldn't have to struggle. That's why he's working to lower costs, putting Ohio families first. Because as a father who just welcomed his 3rd child in February, this fight isn't political, it's personal. Just ask his wife.
Bringing a new baby home puts everything into perspective. I'm Apoorva Ramaswamy. Nothing means more to my husband, Vivek, than being a father. He knows Ohio families are working hard, but falling behind. Like every parent, he wants safe communities, great schools, and a state where hard work means you can afford your home, your groceries, and your future. Vivek is running for governor to give every family a fair shot at a better life. So Ohio's future stays right here.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
For decades, people have been asking, what's the famous recipe behind Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken? And we've decided we're finally going to tell you. Starting with the 8-piece family meal and its 8 pieces of crispy, delicious bone-in chicken, 4 fluffy, buttery biscuits, and 2 large sides. Oh, wait, I'm just getting word from our lawyers that I can't actually tell you any of that. So, better pick up an 8-piece family meal and figure it out for yourself. Good luck. The 8-piece family meal, only at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, famous for a reason.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
Dang, I forgot the wakeboard. How am I supposed to enjoy myself without my favorite water activity? I mean, sure, we could still go tubing, fishing, or even just relax on a floaty, but without the wakeboard, what's the point?
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Save big on everything at Menards. We're your destination for everything electrical. Whether you're trying to create the perfect ambience with a stylish new dimmer or seeking the right USB outlet to charge your mobile devices, Menards carries a wide selection of dimmers, switches, and outlets from Legrand to fit your everyday needs. Save big money on products from Legrand at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
It's the Race Cars and Future Stars Expo 2026, March 20th through 22nd at the Pickwas Center. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9. Sunday, noon to 5. Saturday is Kids Day with balloon artists, face painting, and the Dayton Race Fans Benefit Auction at 1 o'clock. Over 60 race cars from Ohio and Indiana. Your chance to be up close with some of the best cars and drivers in the area. Food, fun, and entertainment. Admission is free. The Race Cars and Future Stars Expo at the Pickwas Center, I-75. Exit 82. Don't miss it.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, we are back. It's the Justin Kenner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, 937-518-1410, 937-518-1410, the number to call and jump in on the conversation. If you haven't done so, head to wingam.com and participate in Basketball Mayhem, our bracket challenge presented by our friends over at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. $150 gift card will be awarded to the tournament winner, plus $25 for the round winner. So make sure you get your brackets submitted. Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown hanging out with us here in studio this time.
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
How about this?
Yes. So whenever I'm telling people to go fill out their brackets, all the rules on all these little contests always say you have till Thursday, but like,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts because I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating if I turn in my bracket later. I feel like it needs to be done before at least the first 11 seed, first 4 matchup, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I say that, and I'm with you, except for the fact that I was talking to somebody the other day about this Texas NC State matchup tonight, and I actually like Texas to get to the Sweet 16. But if only they can win tonight. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I'm not going to pick NC State to the Sweet 16. I might pick Texas to the Sweet 16, but you got to figure out what's going to happen tonight. So,
and we usually see teams that usually make it to the second weekend coming out of the first 4. So it's not that, it's usually not that big of a surprise if that happens.
There was a really funny a few years ago when UCLA went to the Final Four. You remember that back in 2020? Yeah, with Cronin. A friend of mine in our bracket pool had UCLA in the Final Four that year. And I said, how in the world did you pick UCLA to the Final Four that year? Because they were good, but they were in the play-in game. They were here in Dayton. And he said, well, I'm a Michigan State fan. I picked that game to go to the Final Four, and I forgot to switch it before tip-off on Thursday. So he got lucky.
You shouldn't have told on yourself. You should have just kept it as
That's
is.
what I said.
I just knew.
That's what I said.
Nonetheless. But, yeah, the bracket is out. Really, I mean, usually there's always a team that everyone is screaming about. And I felt like most of the screaming came before Selection Sunday. There was no noise after the bracket revealed. Was this one of the better bracket reveals as far as, everything kind of checking out? I mean, I know it was a weak bubble this year, so that there wasn't a lot of controversy there. I feel like the only noise that could have been made is if they actually would have pulled the trigger and kept Miami out, and they didn't. This is as close that you could have done it, I guess.
Yeah, in fact, I just came from UD Arena with the open practices today, and Keith Gill, the chair of the selection committee, was there, and he walked right by me in front of my table, and I stood up, I shook his hand, and I said, thank you for a perfect bracket, because this is as perfect of a bracket as I can remember in the NCAA tournament. It's the 68 teams that are in this bracket are the 68 teams we all agreed should have been in the bracket. If you want to say a snub, the snub is Oklahoma, but they did not deserve to be in. They were just the first team that you think, okay, is there a team that was left out? Yeah, it was Oklahoma, but nobody's arguing for Oklahoma to be in. No, this was a perfect 68 team bracket. Yeah, sure, you can get into the weeds and say maybe St. John's should have been a 4 instead of a 5. Maybe Vanderbilt should have been a 4 instead of a 5. But when that's what we're arguing about, Justin, it's a perfect bracket.
Paul Furstner, Rebound Rundown with us in here. Tell everyone a little bit Rebound Rundown, because I get people reaching out all the time. They follow all your work, but they want to know like how you started. Like, how did Rebound Rundown and you?
Yeah. Well, the Rebound Rundown basically was a way for me back in the 22-23 season. So this is the 4th season that I've done it. But what I realized was how awesome the college basketball is here around the Southwest Ohio area when you have Xavier, Cincinnati, Dayton, Wright State, Northern Kentucky, Louisville, Ohio State. There are so many massive programs here. And of course, Miami this year. There's so many massive Division I basketball programs around this area. And I said to myself, okay, you can either listen to an hour-long show once a week, but what if I did a 8 or 10-minute show every single day that just broke down a game preview, a game recap, some things to think about, maybe a pick of the day. That's how it spawned. And so now everybody starts their day with the Rebound Rundown. I love that. You get 10 minutes in the morning. Here's exactly what you need to know going forward for your day.
Well, I feel like the content's been easy this year, easier than at least the last couple of years, just because, like, I guess outside of programs who underperform, that leads to drama, which leads to clicks. There's that. But this year, I mean, again, 4 teams from the state of Ohio that actually make the NCAA tournament, but a lot of teams still in the mix. UC always has people talking. Xavier's always right there. I know this year was kind of a retooling year in the post-Sean Miller era. Then you have, UD's always in the mix. I mean, from the smaller schools, Wright State, Northern Kentucky, they're right there as well. Ohio State, about a month ago, we were talking about them for next season, and the next thing you know, here they are dancing with an 8 seed. Now, if they beat TCU, they got Duke. So I don't see him getting out of this weekend, but it's besides the point. But
Yeah, no, and to Jake Diebler's credit, I don't want to say saved his job, but there were definitely some rumors about whether he would be back next season. He saves his job, and now you have Wes Miller. You'll have a new coach down there at Cincinnati. Out at Butler, you have a new coach there. There's so many storylines here around the area.
Is Calhoun Calhoun's the favorite, it seems, right now, right?
It has to be. It has to be Jared Calhoun. I mean, this is such a layup of a hire for Cincinnati. It's somebody who is familiar with Cincinnati. He's a 2004 graduate. He was a student assistant, manager, whatever you want to call it, for Bob Huggins when he was there. He has been around the area. He was a coach at Youngstown State forever. Yeah. He knows the area. He's familiar with Cincinnati. That's where Wes Miller, to me, Justin, never really clicked, because he's from the South. He's from Carolina. He comes up here just culturally, didn't really feel like a fit. Never felt like he truly bonded with the media, with the fans. Now, winning cures all, and he didn't do a lot of that. But just in general, I think Wes Miller never truly fit in here. And now you're going to get somebody in Jared Calhoun who definitely does fit and knows the area.
Does Bob Huggins coach again?
Oh, I don't think he does.
Okay.
I think
that's fair. Because if you were going to say yes, then I was going to say, well, why not experiment with that in the Big 12? That's all.
No.
But if you don't think he's going to coach again, then that's fair. But do you think? I mean, I don't know. He looks rougher and rougher every time I see him. He doesn't know how to put that damn beard down. But
no. The longer that Bob is out of the game, the more I think he's just done. I don't think he's going to come back at this point.
Because I thought if backs are against the wall and it's all about getting people's attention, that's one way to do it. Calhoun is more modern. I think that's a more modern hire. But that's why I asked, if you think he's going to coach again, then why wouldn't the Bearcats? Why not? But if you don't think he's going to coach again, then so.
Well, if you're going to bring the former coach back, go get Mick. Bring him back to the Midwest.
That I think actually I would prefer. I would prefer that. He seems miserable over there.
Yeah.
Every time he opens his mouth, he's complaining about something, and I'm just like, and that's the problem I have too with a lot of the Big Ten teams. I guess the coaches didn't technically make the decision one way or another, but man, the travel. I'm so tired of hearing about UCLA and Oregon complain about travel when you had no problem accepting the Big Ten conference check whenever that came along. But man, all you've done is complain ever since then.
And now he's got to go play in Philadelphia this weekend. He's going from West Coast to East Coast.
But Cronin would not be a bad move whatsoever. What about Butler? That job that's open now. That seems there's a couple names that are out there. I mean, even everyone's favorite CBS college basketball analyst got duped and thought that Travis Steele had accepted the job before the first four even tipped off. So where's Butler going with this hire? You think?
Yeah, it sounds like Ronald Norred, a former player, is the leader in the clubhouse for that one. I would not be surprised if John Gross at Akron gets a look for that. Travis Steele is a name obviously that comes up for that job. Just he went to Butler. He's familiar with the area. Again, he's from here. I don't see Travis leaving Miami for a job that he has to move for. Could Travis maybe be interested in a Dayton down the line if Anthony Grant's no longer the coach there someday?
This year. Bring it this year. Come on.
Then maybe that's an opportunity for Travis Steele. I don't know. But you think to yourself, Travis's dynamic is very interesting with his family. His wife's from here. His wife's family is very entrenched in Cincinnati financially, and just as a family, they have a lot going for them here in the Cincinnati area. So I don't think Travis has any interest in moving away, and that's why you see some of these national reporters say, "Oh, could Travis Steele go to Providence?" There's a dynamic to Travis here in Southwest Ohio that he doesn't want to leave, but there are also jobs that will open. He's not going to go to Cincinnati. Could he go to a Dayton? I think that's really the only one.
Why wouldn't he go to Cincinnati?
I don't think Cincinnati would hire the former Xavier coach.
If Miami wins tonight,
yes,
and wins a first round tournament game,
yes,
then yes.
No. Travis Steele will not go to Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati will not hire Travis Steele as the head coach.
Okay,
no.
Which is fine if Calhoun works, and that's fine. But this will be one of those like you look back on, and maybe we've seen him coach at Xavier, of course, too.
Yeah,
but it's that entrenched.
Yeah,
they will not budge on that.
No,
that's interesting.
I cannot imagine Travis Steele going to Cincinnati. I don't see that in a million years.
Is he again? And I'm not trying to get I'm not finding clippable segments for you because I know that's not your game, that's mine. But Travis, is he the head coach at Miami next year?
I think he is. I think he is. Now, maybe if I don't know what Anthony Grant's situation is at Dayton, if he's going to come back or not. I don't have any scoops there. If he doesn't come back, maybe that's one you take a look at. But I think Travis is exceptionally happy at Miami. You're going to get a new arena a couple of years down the line. You're pretty well funded. I think in general, you have all the support of a president and athletic director that want you to succeed. There's been all this media publicity in the last few weeks about how much Miami's investing into their athletic programs. I think there's a real opportunity for Travis at Miami. The problem is what happens as a MAC team. Can you maybe step up a league if you're going to invest in the facilities and everything else? Can you take one step up out of the MAC? Maybe, because
what is that to you?
That's what I've been trying to figure out, Justin. I don't know what that is.
It's not the OVC.
The Sun Belt, maybe? That's not.
Because the Sun Belt would be 2 clicks up, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
The MAC looks so damn good at times too. I mean, it's not as big as I'm just saying like at times, but man, I miss the old America. Before all the teams branched out, when you had Houston, when you had Wichita, when you had Cincinnati, I really love that American Conference with Memphis, all of that. that conference, that's the conference I kept saying years ago. I'm like, I know Dayton's obsessed with the Big East, and you should always pick the Big East if it comes first. But the American Conference years ago I loved because of that, but now it's not the same conference or whatever. But yeah, what is that? We hear teams moving up all the time, but sometimes how far up does it have to justify it for you to make that jump?
Yeah, I don't know what that. It's funny because it's like when you talk about teams in the portal and you say, hey, if only we could get a 7-footer. It's like, well, okay, but you have to go and actually find those 7-footers, right? You can say, oh, they're going to move up a conference. Well, you have to actually go find that conference. What conference is that? I would say trying to improve your conference standing or just dominate the MAC, which they might be able to do now.
The Travis Steele dynamic is interesting because I've compared it to years ago when Archie was at UD. After that final class with Kendall Pollard and Scoochie and all of them.
Yeah.
You risk if this is why I didn't blame him for leaving, and UD fans hated him for it. And I said, you risk your stock never being higher than what it is right now. You come back and then you're going to get the whole, oh, you were one hit wonder with that particular class. Like that class could be your biggest, your golden ticket, but it could also be your biggest downfall because if you can't follow that class up with another good class, it's, oh, well, you were just good with that one class. That's why I always try to see coaches that can replicate it with multiple classes, more so in football. Basketball, it's moving parts faster. But I didn't mind Archie leaving then because I'm like, if you come back and you don't replicate this winning and you don't get back to the tournament for a while, your star will never be brighter at that point. So Travis Steele, that would be my thing with him. That's what I'm fascinated by to see because he will never go 31-0 again. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but you'll never go 31-0 again. You may never get an at-large opportunity at Miami again in this anytime soon. You make the NCAA tournament again anytime soon. That's the risk you take if you come back because Miami, I'm not saying that they're just going to disappear into the abyss, but I don't think that they're this either. It's going to be, I don't know. I don't know where they go from it, but that's the risk if Travis Steele doesn't move up right now. Archie, I thought the same thing years ago, and that's why I took the Indiana job.
Yeah, and that's the competitive nature of coaches is do you want to just immediately go up? But again, I think he wants to stay in this area. So does Dayton open or does – I don't think he'll go to – I think Butler will get Ronald Norred or John Gross, one of those two. And then from there, does Travis end up at Dayton one day?
Yeah, and we have Paul Frischner, Rebound Rundown, with us here. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. The Butler job is interesting, too, because Jeff Goodman, Field of 68, they put it out that he was coming back. There was a report that he was coming back. And Jake Diebler, who I know, John Diebler, who I know, said I shot him a note because I knew him from – we went to high school, not together, but at the same time. I said, congrats coming back. He said, yeah, looking forward to it, blah, blah, blah. So something happened over the weekend. What do you? And I'm not really asking if you know, but that's weird because I texted him. He said, "Yeah, looking forward to it." Like you know what I mean? Like so, something happened, and what I'm wondering is, and this will go for any coach that goes there next. And you had other coaches, defending him throughout the year. They do not invest. Butler basketball, of all things, does not invest as much into that program as what they absolutely should. And for one, maybe because they can't, it's something they don't want to. They just don't have the funding. My guess is and this is all speculation. Mata said, all right, I don't want to retire, but I want to come back, but we can't continue doing things the way we've done. And I think he didn't get the answer he wanted, and that could maybe be why all of a sudden he retired after 2 days before it was announced he was coming back.
It wouldn't shock me if that was the case because Butler, to your point, is one of the lower spending teams in the Big East. And so from that perspective, if you're trying to invest in the program going forward and you have a coach like Thad Matta, who's not young, right? This is not a mid-30s coach who has his whole career in front of him. This is somebody who has done the coaching journey before, and now he's on the back end of his career. Now, he's not as old as a lot of people think he is.
No.
He's not as old as everybody thinks he is when you look at that.
That back and everything.
He's got some health issues, but he's not that old. He's only, 55 maybe?
Let's go to the old Google machine.
I'm going to say, Justin, he's 55, unless he just turned 56.
He will be 59 in July.
Oh, 59. Okay, so he's 58 right now?
Yeah.
Okay, but still, okay.
Yeah.
Same generation. He's not 60. And so that's where if you're Thad Matta and you're saying to yourself, do I want to put myself through this again? Do I want to coach this team? What resources are you going to give me to compete? Now, this year, Butler got tough break for Butler this year. The point guard, Jalen Jackson, gets hurt, dealt with some injury issues through the year. Then their backup point guard,
Fort Wayne, right? I think he was the kid. Jalen Jackson was the Fort Wayne kid.
And then Stink Robinson gets hurt, their freshman point guard. So now you're down a couple strings. It just didn't really work out for him.
Yeah, we'll see. So Thad Matta, but he's retiring. It's not just that he's not coming back; he's retiring.
Yeah, no, he's done.
Has he coached his last game? Do you think?
I think so.
I love Thad. Thad was just one of the good ones. I was my favorite Ohio State teams growing up were right when I was in high school, but we played against a lot of those guys that went. So like I just was right away entrenched with them too. But then get to the Final Fours and all that fun, but whatever. It's just never really worked since then. D'Angelo Russell was the last time that he coached a relevant Ohio State team. As far as that goes. Paul Frischner with us here. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Head to wingam.com. Basketball Mayhem presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Get your brackets submitted. You have until Thursday. I know we opened up the show with that, but you have until Thursday technically to get that bracket submitted. $150 Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken gift card awarded to the tournament winner. $25 gift cards awarded to the individual round winners. So we're going to step away. Again, Paul Frischner with us here in studio. We'll step away for a few moments. We'll talk more about the Red Hawks when we come back. And then you look at all the teams. You look at Akron. You look at Miami. You look at Wright State. You look, of course, at Ohio State. I'm going to ask Paul this. You can think about it during the break. How many total wins between all those teams are we going to see in this NCAA tournament? I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Let you think about it. We'll be right back. Justin Kinner, Paul Frischner, 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, mostly cloudy, 24 tonight. Chance of rain and snow and 42 tomorrow. Thursday, rain and 56. Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The new year is at Old English Outfitters, and so is the winter weather. Stop by their 50-yard climate-controlled archery range for the perfect cold weather activity. Beat the weather at Old English Outfitters in Tip City, Ohio.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Ready to love where you live? The Clark County Home and Garden Show returns March 27th through the 29th at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield, presented by Home Genius Interiors. This is your chance to meet trusted local pros, explore fresh ideas, and get inspired for your next renovation or landscaping project. Admission is free, powered by Buckeye Decorative Concrete. 3 days, real experts, real inspiration. March 27th through 29th, the Clark County Home and Garden Show, where your next project begins.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, mostly cloudy, 24 tonight. Chance of rain and snow and 42 tomorrow. Thursday, rain and 56. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by.
Do you have travel plans in the future? Are you TSA pre-checked? Hi, I'm Shannon Crabtree, representing Mike Foley's Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office. I'm reminding you that you can get TSA pre-checked as well as update your passport at our convenient auto title location inside the Montgomery County Administration Building lobby.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Please visit GetTSAPrecheckNow.com to schedule your TSA appointment at 451 West 3rd Street in downtown Dayton. We do take walk-ins, but priority goes to appointments.
It's another convenient service of your Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
For all of your tree needs, you've got to call Tackett Tree Service. Headquartered in Dayton and family-owned since 1949, Tackett Tree Service delivers professional quality tree services to residential and commercial customers, including tree removal, pruning, trimming, stump grinding services. Plus, they have firewood and mulch for sale, and even specialize in tree health care, too. Call Tackett 7 days a week, 7 to 7, and emergency service 24/7. Call 937-630-2743 or see Tackett'sTreeService.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Turn your tax refund into your next home upgrade at Menards. Mastercraft makes great doors inside and out, building the highest quality doors in a wide variety of styles. Add beauty and security to your home with an exterior door from Mastercraft. Shop our huge in-stock selection or design your door your way in store or online. Save big on Mastercraft doors. Plus, view our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Dayton's radio home for Ohio State basketball. The Buckeyes will tip off the NCAA Tournament on Thursday. The 8-seed Buckeyes will take on 9-seeded TCU. That's a 12:15 tip-off. We'll have pregame coverage for you on Thursday beginning at 11:45. We're also Dayton's radio home for Wright State basketball as well. And the Raiders will, of course, be in action on Friday, 1:50, the tip-off with 1:20 pregame coverage beginning also right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We avoided any kind of both of them tipping off at the same time, kind of snafu type of thing going on. But nonetheless, Paul Frischner, it's hour number 2, by the way. Paul Frischner from the Rebound Rundown with us here in the WING studios. You're in town for, of course, the first 4 tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, pumped for it.
What do you think about the field? I mean, they usually do. I mean, sometimes it could be a drag of 4 teams in the first 4.
Oh, like right here?
Yeah.
I think it's a great
So,
great
This
field.
worked out pretty well this year.
Yeah, between Texas and NC State, you have Sean Miller and Will Wade coaching against each other in game 1, and then you have Miami in game 2. Both nights, I think, have a ton of intrigue.
Even the smaller ones, UMBC's back after making noise the last time they were in the tournament. So
Lehigh has made noise before. They beat Duke 15 years ago. So yeah.
And you're a basketball nerd, so of course you have no problem with it.
Oh,
yeah, as far as that goes. But no, I asked you before the break. Look, the last couple of years, I think 3. I think since 2021, only 3 teams is the max that we've seen from the state of Ohio make the tournament. As we sit here right now, there's 4. Ohio State, they get in. Of course, obviously Miami, the most storied, talked about team in college basketball this year. Akron out of the MAC, a 2-bid league. Wright State out of the Horizon. 4 teams out of the state of Ohio. How many wins? How many wins will all 4 of those teams combine for in this tournament?
I'm going to say 2 wins.
Are they all from one team?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I think that Miami can win their game tomorrow against SMU, and I think one of Ohio State or Akron will win their first round game. So I would say 2. Now, if you gave me the over-under at 2.5, I don't know. That would be a tough one. Could you say Akron and Ohio State? I really like Akron. The problem is what I get to, Justin, is this point in the week where we're at Tuesday afternoon and I've started to see so many different people pick one team. Then I start to backtrack and say, okay, if everybody loves this, maybe I need to go the other way, because then I start doubting myself. I'm seeing a lot of that with South Florida. I haven't seen a single person pick Louisville. I haven't seen one singular person pick Louisville, including myself. So I finished my preview show yesterday. I think I'm the smartest guy in the room. And I walk out and I'm listening to every podcast in the world. I didn't hear one solitary person pick Louisville. And not one person anywhere pick Louisville. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe I need to switch my pick here. But I'll say 2 wins out of that. Wright State's obviously got.
Oh, come on. Yeah, they're an 18.5 point dog.
Yeah, they're an 18.5 point dog. I would love to see Wright State win that game. But I just that's a tall mountain to climb there. I think two wins. I don't think anybody gets to the Sweet 16.
Fair enough. Ohio State, I'm just glad that they got here for, obviously Thornton and everything that they've gone through there. So good for them. So Miami. Last thing is we closed the book on the Miami talk because it was exhausting. All these should they be in, should they not? We had Clark Kellogg on last week, and I just told him, I'm like, hey, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be in, but if they for some reason they weren't put in, I would not have been as outraged as some of the others. Only because, here, I'll let you take a listen. So I asked him, I said, when you look at you can't ignore the fact that their strength of schedule is in the 300s, but you can't ignore 31-0. So that's a tough little dilemma to be in. Then you look at Auburn, and I was not arguing for them to be in. Just relax, because I could see the Auburn. But you look at Auburn, everyone buried them right away because of all the losses. Yes, but I'm like, when you look at the 4th toughest schedule in college basketball, well, yeah, when you play a tough schedule, you're going to rack up losses. So I wasn't advocating for them to get in, but there's so many moving metrics. So I had asked him, Clark Kellogg, okay, well, what's the number one metric? What is the one thing that you use to be able to decipher in situations like this how teams get in?
I think the first criteria we all should use and default to is wins. That's the very first foundational component. And then with the additional metrics, I weigh road wins significantly as I evaluate teams that are on the stoop. All teams that are on the stoop have significant flaws, all of them. So what differentiates them? I like road wins, and I don't care what league you play in. Road wins are hard to come by.
But see, this is where I can't argue with Clark Kellogg because it's Clark Kellogg and I'm a nobody in Dayton, Ohio. But we keep ignoring, you play a bunch of nobodies. Of course, your wins are going to be not 31-0, not 31-0. I get that. But the losses, when we start talking about punishing teams for losing, it's I do see a scenario where teams are going to stop scheduling in the non-con. Well, if it's just about, stockpiling wins to give us a little leeway in conference play, that would be my fear of the impact of Miami making it this year is that moving forward.
The reason I'm not so concerned about that, Justin, is because the precedent that you're setting with what Miami did this year is that you have to go undefeated. And you look at a team like High Point. Rob Doster made this point yesterday. I broadcasted High Point's first game of the season, and I walked away. I stood up from that broadcast table, and I said to myself, that team can win a game in the NCAA tournament. Now, they're going to play Wisconsin this week. That's a tall task with the backcourt that Wisconsin has. But I walked away from that High Point game thinking that is a team that is capable of beating a high major team. Well, they played a pretty easy schedule this season, a schedule fairly comparable to Miami's. And they took 4 or 5 losses. And that's the danger that you have where, sure, if you're Miami going forward, you could play this same schedule every single year. But the precedent that you set for yourself is you have to go undefeated with that schedule. They would not have gotten in with 2 losses. If they had lost to Ohio in that last game of the regular season, maybe on that buzzer beater, maybe they still would have been in. But if they had lost 2 games in this would not have been a Miami team in the NCAA tournament with 3 losses going into Selection Sunday, because they're in the last 4 in with 1 loss.
Yep.
1 singular loss, and they are playing in Dayton. So that's to me where I don't get so concerned about the schedule easy and rack up wins, because at least at the mid-major level, because you have to go undefeated. Now at the high major level, do you play easier? I think
that's what I meant. I'm sorry. That's where I see this trickling into. If I'm a high major team, I got to give us a little bit of rope here come conference play. If we're going to stockpile losses in conference play, then we don't need to have meaningless losses in November and December.
Yeah, and from that perspective, I think you're starting to see the trend sway back the other way, where Nate Oates at Alabama has done this for the last couple of years, and he has scheduled extremely hard, and I think to an extent it's paid off. They don't have a national championship, but they went to the Final Four a couple of years ago. You look at a team like UConn, Dan Hurley has made it exceptionally clear that they are going to challenge themselves in the non-conference going forward in a way that we haven't seen from high major teams lately. And I think the teams that are – look at Auburn. The only reason Auburn was even in discussion here at the end of the year with 16 losses was because they had played a tough schedule. So I think there's a balance. I think the stacking wins helps the mid-major, but on the back end of that, you have to win the game. Like, I had people from lower conferences reaching out to me because they knew how closely I covered this Miami team this year. And they said, hey, Paul, we are watching what's happening with Miami intently because we want to know, is this something for our league that we need to do? And I would say, yes, maybe. But if the best team in your league wants to schedule that easily, they have to go win those games. And that's why this is almost like a Ryan Russillo take here. And I love Ryan Russillo, but this is kind of one of those takes. I was thinking about this the other day. Miami losing to UMass made me more impressed with what they did in the regular season when I saw what they then were so susceptible to doing in the MAC tournament, where, oh my goodness, they pulled off 8 straight 1-possession games in the regular season. They went 8-0 in 1-possession games in the regular season.
Yep.
And then
that's what Mark Adams was really pushing for them too, that's what he was most impressed with. It wasn't just the fact that they were undefeated. Is at the time when I had them on, they were 6-0 and 1 possession, in 1 possession and 1-point games and all that stuff.
It's crazy. And so, and so it's so to be able to win those games so consistently, just think if 2 or 3 of those 1-possession games, which on average is what usually happens, you win however many 50%, 50% of your 1-possession games, whatever the stat is. You lose 50% of those 1-possession games, 4 games. That's an incredible season. 4 losses, you're not even sniffing the tournament.
So this is where Paul Frischner, the reporter, the guy that covers college basketball, has to step into the world of sports talk, where you got to twist things, right? So Stephen A. Smith on First Take yesterday got people were ripping him for it. I'm like, I don't think he's wrong technically. Like, is there a lot of pressure on Miami? Like, think about so I'm a Wright State fan. Like, there's a lot of mid-major fans out there. You have to be pulling for Miami to win 2 games this weekend to justify the committee putting them into the NCAA tournament, at least winning 1, because if they get blown out, if they get beat tomorrow, like by 8 or more, I think it's a 9.5-point line. Let's just say that they don't, that they get beat by double digits. I don't know if we'll ever see a mid-major get the benefit of the doubt ever again moving forward. I do feel like that'll be a reflection of what Miami does in this tournament.
I had that question twice today. I asked Travis about that question in his press conference earlier this afternoon. I said, what do you think this all does for mid-major basketball? And paraphrasing, he essentially said, we know that the weight of the mid-major world is on our shoulders tomorrow night. He acknowledged it. He had a more eloquent answer than what I just said, but that's essentially what he said. And then I was sitting there on Media Row just watching practice, and I was talking with another media member, and I just was kind of making the comment that, a lot of people from around the country, after everything that Miami has gone through this season and, the narrative that they've talked about with not getting games, which I know for a fact to be true, that they tried to schedule all these teams and these teams said no to them, or they couldn't make the dates work or whatever it might be. And now we're sitting here in Dayton with an opportunity to finally play a power conference team, at the very least tomorrow night, this game has to be competitive, if not win it. If you lose on a crazy buzzer beater at the end, it's a half court shot, so be it. But it can't be 10, 15, 20 points.
See, I feel like tomorrow's a must win. Whatever happens against Tennessee happens against Tennessee.
Yep.
Whatever happens against them. But like
tomorrow validates everything.
Tomorrow, yeah. Look the part tomorrow. And whatever. Because, and again, whether it's fair or not, I ask that question knowing that it's not fair. It's BS, to be honest. But, it's not fair. But that's the reality of it. And moving forward, they will always be used as there could be a 2-loss team in the future that has better, that actually will probably, because their strength of schedule, that's been the big thing that's used against them. There'll be a mid-major moving forward that's a 2-loss team that has a strength of schedule maybe in the 150s range. It'll be double what theirs was. And Miami, I feel like, yes, they will always be the benchmark moving forward of the committee was stupid to put it, although it did help. It was a weak bubble year. So that definitely helps.
Worst bubble year in the last 15 years.
So, but they deserve to be in. You're undefeated. I was never saying they shouldn't be in. I understood those who were, I wasn't willing to at least castricize those who were at least questioning some of the stuff, because I'm like, yeah, I think the story being what it is.
I think be the undefeated. You're tasked with accomplishing your goal 31 times in a season. They accomplish that goal 31 times. You got it in a 68 team tournament. Now, but this is how warped my college basketball brain is. I saw a college football writer say something about, there was a tweet that went viral, and it said, this Miami going undefeated thing is so ridiculous. Imagine if we put 38-0 or 38. Imagine if we put 13-0 Akron in the college football playoff. Justin, I legitimately sat there for 5 minutes refreshing that tweet, trying to think what is this? And then I realized he was trying to say we can't put 13-0 Akron in the playoff. I'm going, hey, that would rock. Put them in.
Oh God, no, not in football. Listen, here's where I did this one back. So college I went back and looked. So college football, everyone says that the upsets would happen in college football. I disagree.
No.
Now, it depends what your definition of an upset in college football is. Now, Akron winning in a college football playoff game to me is a legit upset. But football is vastly different. There's no equalizer in college football. For instance, in college basketball, I'm going to use Wright State just for instance. They could win. They're not expected to, and I doubt that they will. But they hit 12, 13, 14 threes. They go out Jack Oakey like Oakland did a few years ago. And everyone sat there that week. They ain't beating Kentucky. There's no way you're beating Kentucky. Well, every double-digit upset the last 10 years, I went and looked. Every double-digit upset the last 10 years, the double-digit upset team hit double-digit threes. The three-point shot is the ultimate equalizer in basketball. Kentucky was bigger, faster, stronger than Oakland, but the three is the ultimate equalizer. That equalizer doesn't exist in college football, in my opinion. So I just don't think that exists in college football. Now, I don't mean a bad Wisconsin team upset an Ohio State team. You're still relatively close. It's not the case when you're talking the MAC football although it sounds like Miami loading up on some former D1 guys, but that's besides the point. So that's my pushback on that is I just don't think college football has the equalizer that college basketball does. That three ball, that's why the madness exists in college basketball. That three ball is the ultimate equalizer.
Yeah, exactly. But it was funny me sitting there trying to figure out that clearly this guy is saying this as a dig, but I don't get it.
It's not, but it's not the worst point, but basketball is again 31 games, because here's where when I start agreeing with that guy, then if you take any of these bubble teams and start back in November and have them run Miami's schedule, are they running unscathed? You probably trip up once.
Yeah.
You'll probably trip up maybe twice. I don't care how weak the schedule is, because sometimes you're not battling the team. You're battling elements. You're battling young adults, off-court issues, whatever, health issues, whatever, injuries. So, yes, the fact – and they did experience injuries and still found ways to win basketball games. So, see, guys, I don't hate Miami the way everyone said I did. Because I said Travis Steele talked like the guy from Break. Did you ever watch Walking Dead?
First 2 seasons when I gave up on it.
But he has the tone. He talks like the characters on The Walking Dead. It's besides the point. I'll play it for you later.
Okay.
But either way, yeah. Besides the point. Justin Kinner, Paul Frischner. It's 4:13 here in the Miami Valley. We got the first 4 tonight. We'll take a look at the full bracket. I want to know some of your upset picks, the very low-hanging fruit stuff
Gotcha.
when it comes to that, and the teams that you're most excited about for this NCAA tournament, which officially technically does tip off tonight, UD Arena, in the first 4. We got more coming your way. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Paul Frischner in studio. We'll have more your way next.
posters and presentations to labels and loyalty cards, Staples has all the print to boost your brand. Shop now in-store or you can shop online. Staples, that was easy.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-672-7070. That's 1-800-672-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-672-7070. That's 1-800-672-7070.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
You and your family are safer when strong leaders stand with law enforcement. That's why, as governor, Vivek Ramaswamy will partner with police to uphold our laws, keep dangerous criminals behind bars, and protect your family. Law enforcement knows Vivek has their back. That's why 65 Ohio sheriffs endorsed him, including Sheriff Stephen Levorchek.
Safe streets don't just happen. They happen when criminals know tough leaders are in charge. Ohio law enforcement supports Vivek Ramaswamy because Vivek supports us. Vivek will empower police to arrest violent criminals quickly and decisively, putting trained resource officers in every school and restoring law and order statewide, so our families feel secure in our homes and communities. Vivek Ramaswamy backs the blue, so we've got his back for governor all the way.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
Every now and then you find a deal where you get more and pay less. Now that's a good deal. That's Straight Talk Wireless on Verizon's 5G network. Find it exclusively at Walmart and straighttalk.com.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Wolter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email adam@sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With the center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
The guy at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credit end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Paul Frischner, rebound rundown here in the WING studios. The Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. First four tips off tonight. The NCAA tournament tips off tonight. UMBC and Howard. That's a 6:40 tip-off time at UD Arena. And then Texas and NC State, the nightcap for night one of the first four here in Dayton. And then, of course, tomorrow night, Prairie View A&M against Lehigh. That's a 6:40 tip-off as well. And then Miami and SMU. SMU, that line was 9.5 yesterday. It's 6.5 today.
Yeah, it's dropped a little bit, so, coming back down to earth.
There you go. Do with that what you will. But as far as the lines for tonight's games, UMBC, 1.5 point favorite. And then, of course, NC State, a 1.5 point favorite as well. So Vegas expects two good-ass games at the arena coming up later on tonight. And you'll be there for it. You were at practice earlier. You said about your tweet about the overinflated basketballs. Why do they have highlighter orange basketballs for the inside? I mean, I remember going to a couple of those practices, and it's about as bright orange as that helmet behind you. I mean,
yeah, it's this Wilson NXT Evo basketball that they use, and I don't understand why it. I watched the whole sports science on it on the shell, and when it inflates, it becomes overinflated because when you inflate it to the PSI number that the NCAA wants, it for some reason expands and then it becomes overinflated, and it's a whole deal. And if you're sitting here thinking to yourself, Paul, what in the world are you talking about? Just watch some of these games. I mean, it is incredible how overinflated. The last 3 years, I have gone to the NCAA tournament, and I will see constantly in warmups players take the ball off the rack and just start slamming it into the ground as hard as they can to see how high it bounces.
And it goes pretty dang high.
And it goes very high.
Why do they use a different I mean, you use a certain basketball all season, and then boom, you throw out a different one.
And a lot of these teams, they end up going back and getting some sort of maybe they'll get a rack of these to practice with. I know a lot of teams will practice with these balls leading up, but even if it's just a couple of days, why don't we have a standard basketball in college basketball? I don't know. Is it a budget thing for schools? I know it's a shoe deal. It's a sponsorship deal for all these schools that if they're a Nike school, they play with Nike or whatever it is, but I don't understand it.
And just the feel of the ball. I mean, it's all about the feel of the ball too. What
players
are comfortable with. But if you're if one point guard that doesn't like the feel of this ball, it could throw the whole thing off.
Yeah,
just saying. But nonetheless, Paul Frischner with us here. I know we only have about 10 more minutes or so. I know you're heading to the arena here in a little bit. I'm knocking a few more things out and then heading up there as well. But we've spent a lot of time on the Ohio side of things when it comes to these teams. I want to talk about Dayton real quick, and then we'll move over to the field of 68. But Dayton not in the NCAA tournament. One thing I did praise them for yesterday is I was really hoping they weren't going to opt out of the NIT. Now, again, we talked about we don't know the future of Anthony Grant. He's coaching the USA, under 18 coming up this summer. And I think the fact, a lot of teams are moving on from their coach. They're not playing in any postseason. We saw that with UC. I think he's back.
I also think he's back.
I don't think I know he was a little wishy-washy on the interview he did with Goodman last week or week before, whenever it was. But the rumors are out there for a reason. And I think the fact that he was very emotional on the sideline. I don't know if you watched that game against VCU. Yes. They kept clipping over to him. I know he felt for his guys. There was a lot of guys that never experienced the tournament and yada, yada, yada that he was trying to get, Durkak and some of the others. But where are you with Anthony Grant? I know we don't know what his future is. I think he's back at least another year. But UD's an interesting spot. I'm just glad they didn't opt out of that NIT.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, they're playing that home and home. I believe it's a home and home. It might be neutral. I think it's a home and home with Memphis.
Yeah, I thought
Is it a neutral? Okay,
because I was excited about them doing that partnership, but then when I read that it was neutral, I'm like, I hate that. I'm like, just Memphis at UD, UD at Memphis, that'd be huge.
But Penny Hardaway now coming back, which makes me think, okay, there's some coaching
Anthony
stability
Grant
on
and
both
Penny
sides.
are the same thing. They're in the same boat.
They're
Alma mater, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I would expect Anthony Grant to be back next year unless something changes where you're coaching, Team USA, you're coaching in the postseason now. You haven't heard anything yet. I'd be stunned at this point.
Yeah. They're a weird program. I don't know what to make of it. I just know Dayton, with all the resources, to go 10 years with one real NCAA tournament, because 2020, I never know. I mean, you can't not give it because that was a magical 2020 year. But even then, that's a 20% rate in a 10-year period of making it to the tournament. When you think of the NBA players they've had, you think of the money and the resources that they have, you think of the wins that they've had. I mean, what they do in November, December, how they can't roll that over into January, February is kind of insane. I don't get it. But 10 years, it's the same thing we saw from him at VCU. Always good competitive teams. They didn't make the tournament, but same thing at Alabama. Anthony Grant teams are all the same. They all have that same vibe and feel to them. Good, competitive, consistently non-NCAA tournament. That's a problem.
They get tripped up in the A10, and then from there, you think about it this year, they start 5-0 in the A10. Things are looking okay, but it always felt like you needed to see them win a couple of games against some of the top-tier competition in the A10, and they beat St. Louis, but for some reason, it's VCU. Just can't get over the hump of VCU in A10 play, but so it goes. Now looking forward here toward next season, you just think to yourself, what can you bring back? What can you build for the future? And I would assume at this point, Justin, he's the head coach next year.
I'd assume as well.
Yeah.
I think it's tough to coach at Dayton. I think Dayton's a tough job to coach at. I think they build a lot of their internal problems, but they schedule really well. They put good teams on the schedule, and then they win those games. And then you have to, because you're a victim of your own success, because you were perfect, because you did great things in November, December. Now you have to be perfect in January, February. And because of that, I just feel like it puts this pressure of, you're telling your fans, we're an at-large program. The problem is you're not. And it just feels like you come up short every year because I think of the unrealistic expectations, to where I don't know VCU, and I don't know this. I don't know how VCU portrays themselves to their fan base outside of just, speaking with their actions versus their words. The problem is Neil Sullivan has come out on multiple occasions to say our expectations are championships and at-large bids, and they don't do any of those. That's a problem to me, because they're telling you their expectations and they're not meeting up to it.
Yeah, and this whole area between, you look at Dayton trying to get established tournament success here in the last 10 years. Cincinnati hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since 2019. Xavier's only made 2 tournaments since 2018. This whole, from an at-large perspective, obviously Miami got in this year. Wright State is going to be playing in the tournament, but from a consistent at-large perspective, the college basketball world is better when Southwest Ohio teams are all competing with protected seeds in the NCAA tournament like they were, a decade and a half ago. I know the sport has changed a lot, but there are still opportunities there. Dayton has one of the best fan bases in the country, not just the A10. They have one of the best fan bases in the country. There's clearly momentum there. Just have to win it on the court.
Yeah. And this is the most vulnerable I've seen that fan base be in a long time. You had Fire AG shirts worn at the games at the, higher ups made them change those shirts, which then led to Marats. You're repeating on Marats, all that fun stuff. So I don't know, but he comes back. It's almost like feels like make the tournament or you're out type of situation. I have no clue. We'll see what happens with Dayton moving forward. But yeah, as a Wright State guy, I always do like to say that in the last 10 years, they've made it 3 times. One real time for Dayton, technically, but I do like to rub that in if I can. Either way, look, outside of the state of Ohio, of course, a ton of really good. You talked about the field earlier. We said there was just no drama with this. I mean, the drama was, should Miami be in? Well, whatever. It is what it is. They're in. There was no drama. It was actually, this seemed like a very well executed, laid out field of 68 when it was announced on Sunday.
Yeah, fantastic. I didn't have a single thing that I looked at. St. John's popped off the page to me, but St. John's didn't do enough in the non-conference. And the committee has emphasized that you look at the entire season's body of work, not just what happened in the last 10 games. It's been a long time, almost 2 decades, since the committee has looked at what goes on the last 10 games of the season. So looking at what St. John's did over the course of the entire year, I think their 5 seed was justified. Vanderbilt lost some games after they started 16-0. So be it. They're a 5 seed. And yeah, I think it's a good bracket.
Upsets. What are some of the big upsets you have circled for this one?
There's a few that I'm looking at. Again, South Florida over Louisville. It almost feels like it's not an upset now because literally everybody in the world's picking it. So I don't even know if I want to say that it's an upset, but I'll be picking that game. I think Santa Clara can beat Kentucky. I don't think I'm going to pick Santa Clara to win that game, but I think they can absolutely beat Kentucky. But from a double-digit seed perspective, a little farther down the list, there are a couple of teams that I've already talked about a bit. One, High Point. I think High Point has the ability to beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin's backcourt is incredible, but I think High Point, with some of the athleticism that they have on that team, they're not the biggest team, but they do have some size. I think High Point can beat Wisconsin. And then another game that's incredibly intriguing to me, especially since Aiden Holloway got arrested yesterday or the day before, Alabama and Hofstra. Hofstra has the CAA Player of the Year in Cruz Davis. They have the CAA Freshman of the Year in Preston Edmeade. Their guards win in March. Guards win in the NCAA tournament, and they have 2 of the best guards out of that conference. And because of that, you're going up against an Alabama team that wants to get out, run, score, but they don't have one of their best players. Aiden Holloway won't be playing. So can Hofstra pull that off?
2 pounds of pot.
Crazy.
I mean, you couldn't leave a pound at home. Like you needed all 2 pounds. Like what's
Yeah.
like that's a wild thing to be caught up in, especially, I mean, at any point, but especially right now, just wild. I like VCU over North Carolina. That line right there.
No Caleb Wilson.
That line 2.5. Carolina is favored by 2.5. I mean, that's but VCU too. Like watching them a lot this season, especially with Dayton. They're fast. They crash to the basket. I mean, they do a lot. They shoot the ball real well. They do a lot of the little things really, really well. I could see them going on a game, maybe 2-game run. But I like them over North Carolina. Plus, Nebraska's never won. They would go on to probably play Nebraska if they pull it off. Nebraska's solid, but they've never won an NCAA tournament game. They're favored by 12.5 against Troy in that 13-4 matchup. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I would say that's not a bad one to look at. I'm looking at the bracket here in real time, trying to figure out if there was anything else that I missed. I don't think there is. Those were the couple that I had my eye on a little bit. Kansas playing Cal Baptist. Dom Daniels had a great night the other night. St. John's playing Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa was the 6th seed out of the Valley, but I wouldn't be stunned if Northern Iowa won that game. But I think St. John's, after what happened last year playing John Calipari, can go. I think St. John's has an opportunity to go to the Final Four this year. They get caught up in Big East officiating sometimes, and that's an issue because St. John's plays so physical, and the physicality of the NCAA tournament is officiated differently, and it stinks. But that's just how it is.
You think it's officiated tighter?
Much tighter.
Which you would think, which gets those better teams. You risk your better players getting in
Exactly.
foul trouble, and then it's a little.
Zuby Ejiofor gets in foul trouble, and you have some issues there for St. John's. So, yeah, those are some of the things I'm thinking about. Can Nebraska win their first NCAA tournament game in program history? Troy's a really good team out of the Sun Belt, but I think Nebraska can win that game. There are a few other intriguing ones. Missouri's a 10 seed, but they're basically playing a home game in St. Louis against Miami and Jay Lucas, who's in his first year down there in Coral Gables. St. Louis playing Georgia. St. Louis stumbles to the finish line. That's one to keep an eye on. But overall, I'd say Hofstra. Akron. Can Akron do it? I think they have the talent on the team to do it.
What if after all this, they're the last one standing?
I thought
After
about
all
that.
Like, because then you get that potential Akron-St. Louis matchup, and
Yes.
Akron could beat St. Louis. Like you
No,
can get
Akron would play Hofstra.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
Akron
the
would
top
play
seed. I'm
the
sorry.
Alabama or Hofstra.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Akron,
yeah.
Alabama could potentially be a second round matchup. So
you never know.
And then just because I know they're tighter in the seeds here, but 7-10, Santa Clara, a 3.5 point favorite. I'm sorry, Kentucky a 3.5 point favorite, but Santa Clara, I mean, Kentucky's been prone to upsets regardless of the coach in recent years. So who knows? But I mean, can you imagine Santa Clara? You imagine Kentucky getting another double seed loss right there.
I watched Santa Clara walk into the Cintas Center, and I know Xavier finished tied for last in the Big East, but I watched Santa Clara that night on a Monday back in November and just was thoroughly impressed with what Santa Clara did this year. Kentucky should win that game, but they're not going to back down. I mean, they had Gonzaga right down to the wire in the WCC title game a few nights ago. last week and kind of ran out of steam in the last 4.5 minutes. But just because they see Kentucky, don't think just, Santa Clara, this is they're going to be intimidated by Kentucky. They're going to go into that game expecting to win.
I know this is not going to happen, but I'm just saying, Miami, they win. They play Tennessee.
Yeah.
If Wright State pulled off one of the stupid upsets of the weekend, you would get a rematch between Miami and Ohio, or between Miami and Wright State in that second round. That'd be kind of unique, right?
Miami and Wright State to go to the Sweet 16. Could you imagine the scenes?
I mean, look, it's a 14-3. No one's going to pick them to win. No one look at my bracket. But that's besides the point. But I'm just saying, crazier things have happened in this tournament. I always say, look, if Virginia wins, they're supposed to, and if Wright State wins, that's what makes this tournament the most exciting and lovable tournament out there.
Exactly.
So is what it is. But I have a feeling you're not picking that upset. No.
I'd love to for Clint, but no, I can't. No, I can't do it. I'm sorry, Clint. I wish you the best of luck, though.
Yep.
I really want them to win, and that would be one for the rundown. I'd love to cover that one. I'd love to cover a win there.
Yeah, they got to keep this team intact.
Yeah.
Because Clark Kellogg the other day said, that's my team for next year to keep an eye on with all that talent. I'm like, I just hope they can keep it all together.
Good young core.
Because, yeah, we'll see what happens. But all right, man, good stuff. I know you're heading to the arena. I got to go to a job review. So let's wish me luck on that. So we'll see how that goes.
Thought we had a good show here.
Yeah.
Can I put in a word for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Down south, maybe, if this doesn't go well. All right, man. Good stuff. Appreciate you as always. And we'll be seeing you at the tournament, UD Arena. First four tonight. Everyone have a great rest of your evening. More of the Justin Kinder Show when we come back.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. But wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Visit us today at turbotrackrealty.com or give us a call and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Been back, and he's been playing that role kind of like he did when the season started, of rebounding and trying to play defense and being in the dunker spot on offense as a finisher. You're seeing that defensive intensity being able to creep back up again because Luka and Austin Reeves can't really do it. Like, they can't do it physically, but they have the willingness to do it. In the last few games, I've seen Luka drawing charges. Right. In that game last night, Austin Reeves, I think he had a steal on like 2 or 3 possessions in a row in the fourth quarter. And so it's like that mentality and kind of LeBron being the leader for everything besides offense seems to help the team to play defense. And if they defend like that, then they can be competitive against anyone, even in the Western Conference.
So, Dre, the playoffs are right around the corner. They will definitely be here before any of us really realize it. But I'm looking at this Lakers basketball team, and I think it's all about matchups.
Yeah.
So who was the best first-round matchup for the Los Angeles Lakers, and what's the worst possible first-round matchup that they can draw?
So it's weird to say, and no disrespect to the Rockets, but they're the best first-round matchup for, like, all of the contenders in the West.
Yeah, because they have no point guard.
Yeah,
I agree with that take, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because you just look at it. Don't nobody want to play the Thunder. Don't nobody want to play the Spurs. We're talking about the Lakers. Don't nobody want to play the Nuggets if they're healthy. And the Timberwolves, Freddie disagrees with me, but they're in the Western Conference Finals every year. So I just look at those teams. the only of, and even the Suns who aren't even in the playoffs right now, they're in the 7th spot, but they're playing really good ball. And so if I was any of the other playoff teams in the West, either the Rockets or one of the play-in teams would be who I would want to play. As far as the worst matchups, and it sounds crazy to say, but the Lakers, as hot as they've been, they're still within range of falling to the 7th seed. Like, it's still possible. They're only a few games ahead of the Suns.
For right now.
Yeah, for right now. So their worst matchup would be if they fell into the play-in and ended up having to play the Spurs or the Thunder, because, again, nobody wants that either.
Great stuff as always by our man, Dr. Andre Snellings, ESPN senior writer on Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPN Plus. Meanwhile, in Boston, that Jason Tatum experiment working out pretty good. Yeah. The patient has been a lot better than the doctors could have prescribed for this basketball team. Why do I get the sense that even though Detroit's 3.5 games ahead of them, that the East has to run through Boston once again because Jason Tatum has looked like that since coming back?
Yeah, I think that's a fair take, because the Celtics were already the number 2 seed without Jason Tatum. And they were already the number 2 seed and like a problem, right? A team that you were like, I don't necessarily want to see them in the playoffs.
That's true.
Because of how they played. And so then when you add Tatum to that, and okay, yeah, maybe he won't be the Tatum anytime soon that he could have been at his best, but he's showing that at the very least he's all-star caliber, and he has room to ramp up into all-NBA caliber, even if he's not top 5 in the NBA caliber like he is when he's at his best. And so when you add that to a team that's already playing well, and by the way, they know how to play with him. So it's not like the Cavaliers, I think, are still going through growing pains trying to figure out how to really incorporate James Harden into the mix, and they're having some health issues as well. But it's like it has to go through the Celtics, and that's with all due respect to the Pistons. They've been leading the East wire to wire, but, I mean, it is what it is. This Celtics team has won a championship around this core, and it was relatively recent. It's not like we talking, you got to go back, a decade. And so with that being the case, they just have experience that the Pistons are still trying to get. And the Pistons don't have that second superstar to go with Cade Cunningham. And in the playoffs where it's all about matchups, if a team is able to kind of take Cade Cunningham out of what he wants to do, it's not clear that the other Pistons can beat them. Whereas with the Celtics, if you can double, triple team Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum if you want to.
Good luck.
The rest of the team still got something for you.
I can't take it anymore. I have to get into character. Enough! I can't take this ish no more.
I think we're different Eddie Murphy movie. I think we're about to go down south right about now.
My Atlanta Hawks, 10th win in a row, beating the Orlando Magic last night in convincing fashion.
Yeah.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker, 41 points. What do you think about my Atlanta Hawks and what they could possibly pose to any team that they play in the playoffs, Freddie?
Yeah.
Drake.
It's like they forgot how to lose. I mean, to your point, they really have forgotten how to lose. And I thought that game last night against the Magic was going to be, because the Magic had won 7 in a row too. So it wasn't like, that they were playing a mud duck. They were playing a really good team that's playing really well, and they laid the corporate smackdown. So, I mean, I don't feel like I think the Hawks are coming out of the East, but at the very least, with that 10 games in a row, they've moved up into the 8th spot. They're tied with the 76ers, but moved up into the 8th spot. So if they're able to, potentially, they're only a game and a half out of getting to that 6th spot. So if they can get into the
5th spot, because Orlando right now.
That's true. 5th and 6th are tied.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, with that said, I'm looking at who they could play in the first round.
Okay.
And
I want the 6th seed.
We know
I
why.
want the 6th.
He wants the Knicks.
I want New York.
Be careful what you wish for.
I want the Knickerbockers.
Be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm going to say.
I feel like all 4 of the top teams in the East, if they're healthy, I would still favor them over the Hawks, because all 4 of those teams legitimately have, we could go to the finals energy.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the Hawks have that. But I do know that anytime a team is won 10 in a row and they're